Hey everybody, I'm back. Hopefully I'll keep my connection and my battery and all of that. Let me just reiterate and get some of my spare things out of the way. My name is Sue Sanders and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator at Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri. Welcome back. This is part 2 of the live that I had started earlier that decided to go black screen on me. So give me just a second, make sure that I am back online and get that situated. All right. So in the first part, I was just explaining what dies and stamp sets we were using. So you can go back and listen to that. We were just getting into the stamping and putting the card together. This is the card that we're making today, and then it's a fun fold. It flips open, flaps. All right, so we were at that point of what we were going to be doing. So you want to take and glue this piece that is your first layer down or with this little flap that we have. And you want to just do that as evenly as possible on each side. So that's what we're going to do right now. That's where I ended up losing my connection and all. So we're going to glue this down. Whoops. And we're just going to make this as centered as we possibly can. And let's just, for grin, see how far off I am. I'm not really off. I'm pretty close. Okay, to 1 inch on each side. All right, so that is that part. Now we're going to glue this piece down onto our base layer, which is the Azure Afternoon. And all of the cutting dimensions for your paper is all down below in the description. So hold that shut. Lay this piece down just like so. Okay. Move this up a little bit so that when I'm working, you can see me if I'm down too far. All right. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to lay our paper down. And because these got moved around, I want to make sure that I've got my paper going the same direction or the way I want it laid out. Hi, Karen. Welcome back. All right. We're going to try this again and make sure and hopefully everything stays connected for me. All right. So we're going to lay down our 2 little strips of our designer series paper. And we're going to lay those on each side of that flap where there's just a little bit of that Petunia Pop showing up. Here comes my associate.
Glad I didn't come hollering in. Hey, guess what I did?
Me too. All right. And this piece is going to go on this side. And it's just a little bit off, but that's okay. We're going to make it work. We are going to slice off a tad bit of this. I'm going to lay that down because it's got glue on it. So I'm going to get that glue off the back of that. Guess I should have checked that again. And my trimmer. We're just going to take about 1/8 of an inch off of this side so that I can make it fit. I always sometimes have to have something to hold my paper down with when it's still got clicking on me. I'm going to do it down here where I can see it better because it shifted. I think that cut too much off. Well, fiddle faddle. All right, ladies, I think this is telling me that I'm not supposed to do this. So give me 1 second, and I'm going to get me another piece of that paper, and we're going to cut us another piece because it's not wanting to work today for me. But then that's how my week has been. Everything I've touched, it's kind of gone the opposite direction that I wanted it to go. All right, so let's see if this is my full sheet that I've got. Is that the full sheet that I've got? No. Some of these designs look a lot alike, so I'm looking for my, whoop. See, I told you, everything came plopping out at me. All of my scraps. I'm just looking for a piece that I had used that I can make do with for this. Let's see what is on the back. What color? It's the purple. Here we go. All right, so this is what the full sheet started out at. And we are going to cut on this side. We're going to cut off about 1/4 of an inch on here. Because I do want to try to get it lined up as best as I can. So that's going to be there. And I need it to be this to be. I'm just kind of putting together a little piece of the puzzle here, girls. That is right about there. Okay. And it's not going to make a great big difference because nobody's going to know what it's supposed to look like, right? Except us. And I'm going to cut this down. Instead of an inch, I'm going to cut it down to 7/8 of an inch so that it fits. It's taken off a little bit because I didn't quite get my flap centered. Okay. And then that needs to be 3 7/8 long. That. All right, we're back to rocking here. I think. I don't know. Like I said. And we're going to put this.
Oh, Charlene, welcome.
Hi, Charlene. Okay, you'll have to watch part 1, Charlene, to see how I started this card. And then finish watching part 2. So you're going to see the ending before the beginning. So you'll know how the story ends, which is like always something with me. All right. Excuse me, ladies. All right. So there is our front little flap. Now we're going to put our piece of paper here. This weather has got my sinuses so messed up. I mean, along with my bronchitis that I always have. This hot and cold is driving me crazy. All right, so now I've laid down Dorothy, come over here and take over for me for just a minute while I go have my. You can glue that centerpiece in. Oh, before you do that, there's a strip of paper there to put at the bottom.
I guess. Let's see what she's got. Oh yeah, this is the right piece of paper. So we're gonna glue this down here. Down here. Snip it off. So, nothing like being thrown in at the last second to figure out a card, right?
No, it wasn't the hardest part you had to do.
Oh, true, but it's the most important part.
Yes, it's the greedy part on the inside.
Looks straight enough to me. There you go.
Thank you. Oh, Charlene, I totally understand that. All right, so now we've got that. Now I'm going to take a little bit of the silver thread. I don't even know if you can buy this, girls, but you can use whatever you want. You don't even have to use any if you don't want to. I'm trying to use up kind of some of my stock and my miscellaneous pieces of stuff that I have. So we're going to cut off a piece, maybe about 6 inches, 5, 6 inches long. Oh, I was wrong. It's more like 8.5 inches. And we are going to attach that to the back side of our little warm hello. And we're going to just do a little floofy thing here. Tape runner. I'm just laying down some tape runner, and then I'm going to just start curling it back and forth. And I am not the best at this. Some of these girls can just make this look like it's so perfect. Not me. I struggle with it. I think because I try to make it perfect, and it doesn't have to be perfect. So it's just kind of like that. And we're going to trim off our little excess pieces there. We're going to put some dimensionals on the back of this. Hold that in place, as well as to pop it up off of our card. That should hold those in place. And now let's put that ought to work. 3 of them on there. 2. So this card doesn't take much time unless you're like me and you have to stop a video. Oops, and I forgot one more thing. So there is our greeting. But now here's our little trees. And as you can see, it comes in one piece. We are going to take and cut it off so that it just goes side to side with the designer series paper. I'm just kind of making a mark on there because I should have put this on before, which I think is what I'd done. I put it on before I glued my front piece down, but we're just going to take your pick tool and make a little mark. And then that's where I'm going to trim it off at. Like so. Pretty good, pretty good. And now we're just going to glue down these little white trees with some of our glue. I looked at the front of that and I thought, well, I'm missing something and I don't know what. And you could use your the adhesive backed paper to make this like a sticker. I just didn't do that. But there is our front. We're going to trim off our little tails a little bit. Not too much. Okay. Now we're going to take these beautiful dots. Okay, yeah, the tape runner, sometimes they get stuck on something and you have to kind of play with them and not roll it backwards. I know that for a fact. All right, so I'm going to use some of the white iridescent gems that comes with this suite of products. And we're going to put one up here. And then I'm going to put another one, a smaller one. Or I guess it's about the same size, underneath that one. And then I'm going to take one of the larger ones and put it down over here. And there we have our first card. I love this paper. I love everything about this paper, let me tell you. I'm not going to hoard it, though. I'm not going to hoard it. I'm not going to hoard it. All right, so that's our first card. Let me clean this stuff up and put all of this stuff back away before I make a mess of it, because I will. Surely, surely. So what's everybody been up to? I know that Karen has gone to Michigan and has done some stuff up there and was back for our class last Friday. I was so excited that she was able to come. Thank you, ladies. It is a pretty card. And it's not hard. And it's a layout that you could use with multiple paper and stamps. Okay, so that goes back in there. And this I need for my next card to show you a different technique. How many of you have some of the stencils or the masks, as Stampin' Up calls them? And you don't use them very often because you think you have to use them as a group. I know that sometimes we don't think outside the box. I'm just cleaning the glue off of my pad so that I can use it again. So on our next card, which has some silver glitter paper, I'm sorry, I don't think this is silver. I believe this is the cloud cover, and it comes with the, I don't think it's online. I think it is.
What am I looking for?
No, the Peaceful Garden Suite. It's the cloud cover that comes with the Peaceful Garden Suite. And I think that's an online exclusive.
Let me double check, but I think it.
Dorothy's checking. But I'm going to be using the Misty Moonlight and silver or ribbon that comes with that Peaceful Garden.
Peaceful Garden Suite is online.
It isn't online. And it does have paper, and
It's got paper, stamps, cutouts, die cuts,
right.
embossing folder. It's available.
Okay. All right. So I'm not making everything using that suite. I'm just picking and choosing things out of it. Yes, this is cloud cover glitter paper, and it is from that suite of products. All right. So what I've done, let's see, what do I want to show you first? Okay. So this is the card, and that's the inside of it. Okay. And I don't know. Yes, you can just kind of barely see. I embossed the inside of my card using a mask. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So here is our card base, which is Secret C. there is my ribbon. That's an inside that I did up earlier in case my second one that I do here. Yes, it is so pretty together. And like I said, Karen, this isn't considered silver. This is considered the cloud cover, which is like a gray blue. This is a large die cut that comes from one of those sets. Let me see which one it is. That is in the descriptions below. The Snowy Delights. Nope, it's not the Snowy Delight. It is, yes, it is. I'm almost sure. Nope, it's not Snowy Delight. Those are all snowflakes. This is from the Snowflake Essence, I believe. And I'm looking here. Yes, the Snowflake Kisses. It has 9 dies to it. It has a circle die, which is what I used to cut the center of my big die with. So you get this silver piece, cloud cover piece. And then you have, I cut out, well, that was just fine and dandy. Everything fell off of my desk.
Well, when you stack it.
Oh, I know I've got it stacked a mile. Don't worry about it. I'll pick it up when I'm done. Anyway, this is the stamp set or the die set that comes with all these snowflakes and things. And that big snowflake background comes with it. All right, so I've already done that, but I wanted to show you an easy way to kind of get these little pieces out, okay? If you leave it in the die and then you take your pick tool, then you can kind of poke out the pieces that aren't supposed to be there. Okay, although it didn't stay in there very well, so we're going to take it off. Oh, I thought I'd forgotten. I used that sticky back paper. Yay. So what that does is it's going to kind of pull those pieces that we don't want off of our die. So you just have to kind of do it very carefully, and it will take most of them out. And the ones that don't come out of it, then we can poke through. Wish I could find something to do with all of these little itty bitty bits of this really pretty glittery paper. Okay. So let's get rid of all of these bits. And now all we have to do is take out those that decided to stay connected. And it does have that sticky paper on it, so it's kind of sticky. But I kind of like picking things out. I don't know, that's just kind of strange, and that's me. Make sure that you don't have any extra ones clinging to the back of that. You don't want a different dimension on it. So I'm looking here, and it looks like I got pretty much, there's a couple here yet. Just a couple little ones that are hanging on. They're the stubborn ones, right? Okay, I think I got them all. So we're going to lay that down a minute so that I don't mess up too much. So on the measurement for cutting this, you want to cut it a little bit larger than your die. So I cut this one at 4 by 5 1/4 was the piece that I cut this. And I'm going to lay this down and hopefully not mess it up. I'm going to lay this down on the front of my card base. Perfect. Okay, just like so. This, don't throw this away. You can use this for something else. It's too pretty just to throw away. All right, my other pieces to my card. What did I do with my little round circle? I just had it because I showed it to you guys, right? Those are the trees that I didn't use. And that's the die. I had that little circle. But then, you know, I have all this stuff that... Here's my greetings. This is silly because I know I had my circle. There it is. I knew I'd find it. Okay. So we're going to take our circle, and the greeting that we're putting on the front of it is, here it is. If kisses were snowflakes, I'd send you a blizzard. So we're going to stamp that in the secret C. Hi, Anna. How are you? We are all doing well. Very, very busy. I can't stamp and talk at the same time because something's going to mess up. You will have to watch part 1, Anna. That was the beginning, and then my camera went dead. And so I had to start part 2 after it charged up a little bit. All right. So again, we're going to take our ribbon. We're just going to kind of fold it in half. I'm just going to kind of fold it in half like that. And then I'm going to put it to the back of my tag. So I'm going to lay some tape runner down. Lay my ribbon down. Just like so. We're going to trim off our excess. I always like to give myself more than enough. And I know I probably waste it, but it's like, I don't want to have too little. I want to make sure I have enough. So there is our greeting. And we're going to put some dimensionals on it. Why not, right? You only live once. Putting the dimensionals on your ribbon kind of helps hold that ribbon in place too. Okay, that's going to go on the center of the front of our card. Straight anyway. All right, so all we have to do is the inside of our card. So let me show you how you can use your mask from any of those masks that we've got, and you can use it as a embossing folder. So the plates that you're going to use is plate number 1 with plate number 3. Then you're going to take one of your silicone mats and lay it down. You're then going to take your mask and you're going to place it over your paper. So this was just a big snowflake mask, not the one that had, this is actually number 1 that I'm using. So we're going to lay that down on our silicone mat. Then we're going to place number 4 on top of that. And we're going to go run this through the die cut machine. So give me just a second. It's hard, but it works. And while we're waiting for Dorothy to do that for us, yes, and here is the stamp for our inside. Okay, so we're taking and removing plate number 4. Our die, or not our die, I'm sorry, our mask. And then here is the stencil made into a embossing folder. Well, I tell you what, Anna, I couldn't remember how I sandwiched it 2 weeks ago. So I had to play around. So it's plate number 1, plate number 3, silicone mat, paper, mask, and then plate number 4. Okay, because I played around this morning in several different combinations and I wasn't getting it to work. So now we have our inside of our card that has a little snowflake embossed in it. And we are going to stamp, "May the chill of winter be warmed by love and friendship." And we're going to stamp that. Now you could stamp it before you run it through the embossing folder, but I didn't want to stamp it prior to class. And I am just putting this right in the center of my snowflake. And then this will go on the inside of our card. And we have a very simple but elegant card for Christmas. And you can use any greetings that you want. These were just the Christmas sets that I had gotten so far. And that little bit of embossing, people are going to really wonder, how did they get that? Because it's not as a deep emboss as you do with the folders, but it does give it texture. So that is the second card, ladies. Let me move my glue. All right. So here was card number 1, our fun fold, and then card number 2, which is really simple. Okay, so those are the 2 cards that I had for you today. Let's see, anything else anybody needs to hear about? I have been so out of the loop, it's not been funny. So there will not be a coffee and chat tomorrow morning. My husband decided to book me for an appointment tomorrow with an insurance agent. So I can't do that. All right. Well, ladies, I thank you so much for jumping on. Thank you, Karen, for sticking with me. Please go back and watch part 1. It will show you the first card and how I put it together. Thank you, girls. I appreciate it. You all have a wonderful weekend. All right. Bye.